Welcome back to Joe and May's channel. Today, we're taking you to a world that's alive. Just 1.5 kilometers from our apartment hides what might be the largest pet and aquatic market in the world. And this place isn't just for browsing. It once kept me alive when I was jobless.
小鸡，泰国小香鸡耶。
About a 20-minute walk. The weather is as hot as ever. Guangzhou summers never disappoint. The sun blazing so bright you can barely keep your eyes open. We've taken this road so many times already. Rows and rows of huge sheds, stretching as far as the eye can see. That's where the wholesale aquarium fish trade happens. It looks quiet today because it's the weekend. But if you come here on a weekday before 11 a.m., it's a completely different scene. Hundreds of fish vendors packed together, bags of fish covering the floor, trikes weaving through the crowds. They're the most essential transport tool here. Now, you might be wondering why I know this place so well. A while back, I lost my job and couldn't find anything suitable. So I tried selling ornamental fish online. My daily routine was wacky oop, sort through the previous day's online orders, then ride my e-bike here to pick up stock, carrying back huge bags of fish, sorting and packing them in my tiny apartment, then contacting couriers to ship them to buyers all over the country. And that's exactly why there's a big fish tank in my apartment. Those days were tough. My small apartment was filled with phone boxes and oxygen bags, barely any room to walk. But that little business kept me going through those months with no income. In the end, I gave in to bar because the space was too tight and the profit margins too thin. But that experience gave me a completely different connection to this market. Fish are sold by the whole bag, and the price is about half, sometimes even just 1/3 of what you pay at retail shops. If you have a big tank at home and need to stock up on a lot of fish, buying from the wholesale zone is a really good deal.
Đây. 係啊，冇賣魚啊！
你而家買咩啊？
冇賣啊！
而家做咩啊？直播係咪？
唔係拍視頻啫嘛。
係啦。
Speaking of transport, that second-hand e-bike cost me about 60 bucks. Beat up and ugly, but it got me to the market and back every day, rain or shine. Problem was, no license plate. A cop towed it away. The fine was more than the bike itself, so we let it go. Now we walk everywhere. When money's better, we'll definitely get a new one.
Total 多少钱的？
这6块。
6块。
Apart from the wholesale section, all the other shops are open every day, usually from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The pace here is noticeably slower. Every shop has tanks of all sizes out front, filled with colorful little fish swimming around. You can see species from all over the world. The turtle section is also a lively spot. I don't actually know much about turtles, but I've truly learned a lot here. Some are no bigger than a coin, while others have shells larger than a basin. They crawl around slowly or just lie, looking incredibly laid back. The whole market is divided into two main sections, the open air sheds and the indoor halls. The indoor halls have air conditioning. It's cool and comfortable as soon as you step in. But the sheds aren't so lucky. They rely on a few big industrial fans blowing at full speed. On a hot day like this, you can see all the little animals being hit by those fans. Some of them just flop to the bottom of their tanks and fall asleep, barely moving.
Tạt.
把它甩起来就会动了。
哦，
它白天睡觉。
睡觉哦。
啊，这种200块。这个200，这个白色的、黑色的100，有的100块。
别用完了都啦。那什么？看看。仓鼠日历。买没有？买没有？看才知道。
那个猪好小
要公还是要母？关够了没？
What really stops you in your tracks are the reef tanks. Bathed in blue light, corals sway gently with the water flow, clownfish dart in and out of anemones. The whole scene looks like a little universe that doesn't belong to this world. May and I always stop and stare for a long time. Every time we pass by, we just can't tear ourselves away. But I've also heard that keeping a reef tank is a money pit. Equipment, live rock, corals, fish, maintenance, none of it comes cheap. Not like when I kept freshwater fish. I could start with a glass tank for about $40 and just go from there. So I guess the beauty of reef tanks / is reserved for those who are truly prepared.
鱼眼睛、尾巴、尾巴呢？鱼嘴巴呢？鱼嘴巴呢？嘴呢？哇，鱼嘴。哎。
This is the planted aquarium section. There's the dedicated Aquascaping service shop. They have massive tanks. They're some taller than a person. And the arrangements inside are stunningly intricate. Little bridges, overflowing water, layered mountain rocks, dead wood appearing to come back to life. Any theme you can think of, it seems the vendors can make it happen for you. Of course, these services don't come cheap. But you have to admit, good aquascaping really is an art. The placement of plants, rocks, and wood, the selection of fish, / the play of light and shadow, every detail is carefully designed. I never used to know that ordinary looking rocks, dead wood, and aquatic weeds could sell for so much. But that's just how this world works. Everything is sold and everything is bought. But for my own tank, the rocks were picked from a gravel pile next to a construction site, the mud was dug from the riverbank, and the plants were wild collected. My rule is simple: if I can do it myself, I'm not paying for it. Walk a bit further / and you'll hear the birds long before you see them. That's the bird zone. The biggest crowd pleasers there are the parrots, from tiny budgerigars to massive macaws. Their feathers are incredibly vibrant too. Red, blue, yellow, green, like a moving painting. There are also all kinds of pigeons and finches.
对啊，
红的、紫的、绿的。
The plant and flower section. It's truly overwhelming, row after row of potted plants, fresh flowers, and greenery of all kinds. If you can think of it, they probably have it. My favorites are the succulents. Every single pot is so delicate, thick, plump leaves, some shaped like lotus flowers, some like little pebbles, some like clusters of grapes. The colors are incredibly varied too: pink, purple, gray, green, and even gradient tones. They sit perfectly on a windowsill, don't need much attention to thrive.
这是什么果？
Ideal for people who are usually busy. Every time I stroll through here, I see things I've never seen before. Honestly, before I discovered this market, I had no idea that such a vast variety of plants and little creatures existed in this world. Every visit brings new discoveries. Everything is fresh. Everything deserves a second look.
那边大一点。
Around 6 in the evening, many vendors start closing up one by one. Just pull down the fabric cover, block off the stall, and that's a day's work done. After strolling for most of the afternoon, May suddenly said, "Let's take something home too. Our tank needs some new members." So we stopped at a shop and started picking. May said she wanted guppies. Their tails are so beautiful, flowing like skirts when they swim. The owner said 6 for about $1.50, and we could mix and match. We picked 3 different breeds, 2 of each. The colors came together as a
给
perfect
老
set.
板，给老板，老板。10块钱的是吧？
嗯。
我们刚才里面看的是红色的呀。
那灯光照的，橙色也好看。
我也是红色的。
The sky was getting dark. We walked back slowly along the same road, carrying our bag of fish. Even though we'd been walking all afternoon, our legs were sore and our clothes were soaked with sweat. There was a deep sense of satisfaction in our hearts. The sunset hadn't completely faded, streaks of orange and purple blending beautifully across the sky. May said, Today was such a good day. I couldn't agree more.
Oh, 风好大啊！那把头发的吹飘了，好漂亮的。坐一下，不要坐那种。
好累啊！哼。
根据这个
走没有？
Back home, I immediately rushed to place the fish bag next to our tank. The original residents seemed to sense something. They all swam over to the bag, curiously checking out their new companions through the plastic. They adapted much faster than I expected, flicked their tails and swam off joyfully. By the way, we spent 3 days filming this over 2 hours of footage. The market is just too big to fit into one episode. So May had an idea, let's split it into 2. Today's episode is a quick tour, just to get our bearings. Next time, we'll slow down and take a closer look at every fish, every bird, every plant. If you're looking forward to it, hit subscribe. See you in the next one.